Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG. For today's video, we will be going over Cardsphere's newest service that they offer, which is a draft simulator. It just came out this week, and so we're going to go ahead and talk about that here for today's video. So as you guys can see, I'm not currently logged into Cardsphere, so this is something that you can do even if you don't have an account. However, it is free to sign up for a Cardsphere account, so I do highly recommend it. Of course, I should probably mention before this video begins, I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. We've got the Cardsphere hat on. You can see the words sponsored by Cardsphere on the right hand side of your screen. I am sponsored by Cardsphere, but I'm not going to let that really, affect my review of this. It's just kind of going to be more of an awareness sort of thing. I'm going to go over the things that I do like about this draft simulator in comparison to other ones, and even, talk a little bit about the stuff that I'm not really a big fan of, some of the things that they could maybe improve upon in the future. But part of the things that one of the things that I love about Cardsphere is that they are very good at listening to the community, and so I'm sure that if, several people are all saying the same thing, that they'd like to see something else implemented into this draft simulator, it's pretty likely that we're going to see it because they love listening to the community. So here we are on the home page. This is what you get if you're not currently, logged in or anything like that. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see there is a draft simulator over here next to the Explore Cards, Trade Guide, and Condition Guide. It's right here in Draft Simulator. Or if you want to go up to the article, it's right here under the limited blog, draft.cardsphere.com. Also, if you just wanted to type that into the URL bar, you could type in draft.cardsphere.com. And so here you can see their brand new draft simulator. It's pretty sweet. Here's the initial article on when it first came out, and talking a little bit about some of the stuff. We're gonna go right into the draft simulator, and we're gonna talk about each of the things so that you guys can see it a little bit more visually. And so yeah, it should be a fun time. And we'll go back to Cardsphere's homepage, scroll down to the bottom, hit the draft simulator, and we'll start a new draft. So we'll go with, I guess we'll just go with Guilds of Ravnica here for now, and we'll start up a new draft. So you'll see that the cards are loading right now, and we've opened up a pretty sweet one. We got a Trot of the Silencer here, and you can see the cards are loading in. My internet is not the greatest, so that's probably affecting part of the loading in all the card images time. You can see that it was a little bit slow there, but it's not too bad. So Atrata here is definitely the pick. However, we can go ahead and sort things a little bit differently. We can go sort by rating, value, rarity, color, or pack order. These ratings are done, I believe they're done by Lord Tupperware. He's another creator who's sponsored by Cardsphere. I believe they're done by him, but I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't, take that for certain. But yeah, it's a pretty sweet little pack here. These are currently sorted right now, I believe, by rating. So you can see the one with 3.5 stars here, which is Atrata, is up higher than something like the Rhizome Lurcher, which is rated 2 stars out of 5 here. Pause for Reflection, something that you really wouldn't want to play down here, rated at a 2 out of 10, which would be a 1 star here. And then if you hover over these, you can see a little bit more in depth. This one being 52 out of 100 rating, this one being 56 out of 100, and Atrata 74 out of 100. So yeah, you can go ahead and just see the different ratings here. If we wanted to sort by something else, sorting by value would, I believe, check by price. So if we go to View and we check prices, you can see that the most expensive card in the pack here is the Plague Crafter. So if you're interested in just making sure, that that maybe you're doing like an Ultimate Masters draft or something like that, where you would be more concerned mainly with what you're opening in terms of monetary value because you're paying more money for the draft, you're hoping to open up, something great in that draft. That would be something more for those sort of drafts. Here, it doesn't really matter too much just from this basic Guilds of Ravnica pack. Nothing over $1 here, so the price tags don't really matter. And then we can go back up here to View, and we can actually turn off the prices if we want. If you guys want to try, if you guys don't really care too much about the ratings, you're trying to learn on your own, do your own, you guys can go ahead and turn off the ratings as well, and then it plays out more like a regular draft simulator that you would see on another website. I'm going to go ahead and keep the ratings on here. And then again, you can go in here and you can sort by color, rarity, value, rating, pack order, those sort of things. So pack order just being how it would show up in a regular booster pack. You would have all of your commons here in the front, and then you would get to your uncommons, and then finally your rare in the back of the pack. I believe if there was a foil, then the foil would show up in this slot right here where the Atrata is, because your foil would be behind your rare. So that's basically everything you need to know from the view and the sort. The restart's pretty simple here. So we're going to go ahead and get a few picks into this, I guess. So we'll go ahead and grab the Atrata. We'll load up a few more here. I do like Boros here, so I'm leaning towards Ornery Goblin or Wojak Bodyguard, but Whisper Agent's also just like a perfectly fine card, so we'll pick up that one. City Watch Sphinx is pretty solid too. I guess we'll just go ahead and pick up the Sphinx. Here, nothing too crazy. I kind of like Demure Informant and Unexplained Disappearance more than I like Omnispell Adept, so I'm leaning more towards one of these. I guess we'll go with just a little bit more interaction here. We'll go with the Unexplained Disappearance, and then this will be our last pack here. We'll probably just pick up this Darkblade Agent since we're Demure. This is the kind of card that you really want. And as you guys can see, the Sky Knight Legionnaire is now down to half a star, and that's because we've already picked up so many of these different cards that are in Demure already. So normally Sky Knight Legionnaire would be an incredible card. If I, opened up a Sky Knight Legionnaire and the pack was pretty bad, I'd probably take a Sky Knight Legionnaire. I like playing Boros and things like that. So you can see that that has affected these the ratings that they have here. So, for this Darkblade Agent, it's actually normally rated a 48 out of 100, but because we've already chosen some Demure cards with it, this bumps up the Demure Agent, or the Darkblade Agent a little bit more, bumps it up to a 68 out of 100 instead. And you can see for something like the Sky Knight Legionnaire, it's really hard for us to splash Sky Knight Legionnaire in Demure-based decks. You can see here base rating would be 54 out of 100, but because we've already taken all these Demure cards, it's likely that we're not going to end up Boros, and so it has a minus 40 on the color because it's extremely hard for us to splash, which takes it all the way down to a 14 out of 100. Again, you can see for something like Command the Storm, this one is only at minus 20 because the fact that it only has one color in the mana cost, it makes it significantly easier to splash for us. So splashing something like Command the Storm is sometimes pretty reasonable. It's a solid removal spell. I don't think we would need it if we were playing a Demure deck, but it's something that that we can keep in consideration here. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about picking cards. We can go through and just continue to take these cards. Obviously, Artful Takedown is a great pickup here. There's another Darkblade Agent down there, but Artful Takedown would be a pretty easy pick. And we can just go on and, we can continue out the draft that way. So we can go here now. This is the pick section where we're obviously seeing what cards we can pick. If we want to take a look at our deck, we just click the button up here that says Deck, and we can go ahead and see what cards we've already taken. These ones are now back sorted. When you go back to look at your actual deck, the ratings go back to what they would normally be where they're not color affected. So this one was a 54 out of 100. The Trotta we talked about as our pack one pick one, still at the 74 out of 100. So it's pretty easy to go through this. You can see the different bots up here have names based on different creators who are sponsored by Cardsphere. You'll notice that I don't have a bot yet, and that's perfectly cool. The creators at Cardsphere messaged me before the thing came out, and they said they just randomly chose different creators by pulling names out of a hat or something like that. They chose it randomly, and because there's more than 7 creators that Cardsphere sponsors now, so 2 creators I think it was. I think myself and the guys from It Resolves were the ones that aren't included in the draft bots right now, but they do have plans to implement us in the future, so it's perfectly fine, no worries. And the names on the bots don't really do much right now. In the future, they said that they kind of were thinking about doing some sort of like personalization to the bots or something like that. So I think that would be pretty cool in the future to see maybe something like if you get stuck next to me, chances that you're drafting either Golgari or Selesnya are pretty good for you in Guilds of Ravnica, because I don't really draft green cards very highly in this format. I think the green cards are pretty bad in this format, so if you end up next to me, chances are you'll be receiving significantly better green cards than maybe somebody like Pixie Kitten here, who maybe likes green in this format, so maybe she's more likely she'll give a higher rating to some of the green cards, maybe less of a rating to maybe blue or black cards, the more control-y cards, since I know she's not a big fan of not a big fan of the control decks. So maybe that would be something that they could do to make these bots a little bit more personalized. You'll notice a few names here that maybe you'll recognize, people like Jeff Hoogland, Vince, also known as Pleasant Kenobi on the internet, Ethan, who I believe is Lord Tupperware, I believe that's his first name, Pixie Kitten, and so on. So yeah, it's pretty sweet that they have these bots set up. You can actually go in and check out what their picks were too, so you can see we're passing to Vince right now, so we could go ahead and click on Vince. Vince's first pick was a Blood Operative, and then in that opening pack, the Plague Crafter was probably the second best card that we had, and so Vince ended up selecting the Plague Crafter after we took the Etrata out of the pack. If we go over and see what we're being passed, you can see some green cards are being taken here, a little bit of black cards, so maybe some Golgari stuff being taken here from Ben. So chances of us seeing Golgari really aren't too good. So he's going to cut us on these green cards. We're kind of cutting Vince on black cards since we're Demir too, but I guess we're taking more blue cards so far. So maybe Vince doesn't realize quite yet that we're gonna steal some black cards from him, and maybe in pack 2 you'll see that we're not gonna be getting as many black cards from Vince once the rotation changes and we pass the opposite direction. So it's all these things that you can go in and just take a look at. You can also just kind of go in after the draft and kind of see what maybe you would have put together with their deck, what 23 cards you would have chosen for your deck, and I think that would be a pretty cool little exercise for you to do, because you have 8 different players to choose from then, so you can go in to each player, decide what 23 cards you would want for each player, and it's a good little practice for you to practice your deck building skills for Limited. You can see here we've got some Boros going on over here for John. Lucas is also on Boros, so John's going to get cut on some colors here. Pixie Kitten is also on Demir here, and I believe the only person we didn't check was Jeff, who also appears to be on Demir. So that's something you can do here, and then once you're in this section, again, this was the deck section, we can just go back to picks, and then we can resume our draft right away from the pack that we were on. It's pretty simple. And then we can also have the option here to share the draft, which is something that's pretty sweet. So if we hit share, we can either share our deck, share our picks, or share our draft. So for this one, you can see check out my deck, view only results, including decks drafted by bots. So once the entire draft is done, we can go ahead and just kind of say, hey, check out what this deck that I drafted on Cardsphere, if you maybe want to compare to other people if you're doing some testing or something like that. What's the pick? This is something that you can do only on your current picks. So you can see here, actually it looks like the link might be broken here. We might have to copy and paste it here because it says, oh no, something did not work as expected. So maybe, is the other one going to work? No, that one didn't work either. Interesting. I wonder if my internet went out. Internet did not go out, so maybe that's something that the guys from Cardsphere want to check on quick once they see this video. Maybe just make sure that these share links are working. So yeah, the deck one still appears to be working, but the picks and the draft links here, once I get them up and going, the pick one will link to the current pick. So if we didn't know whether we wanted to, since we're Demir in this, maybe we want people to see, normally you'll do this more for pack 1 pick ones, but maybe on this pack 1 pick 7, we just say, hey, we're already Demir, what's the choice? Muse Drake versus Disdainful Stroke, maybe something like that. And then you can share those on Twitter, see what your other MTG friends are thinking about the pick. And then the final one that they have here, which is a pretty sweet one, if we go back to share, is the draft. So you actually get to restart the entire draft for that someone else already did, and you get to see how you would have drafted if you were in that seat versus how someone else would have drafted. So in the same way, if we just restart here, we just do an entirely new draft here. If this loads up, maybe it'll load up. I'm pretty sure this is just my internet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just my internet that's stopping us from hitting the restart button here. There we go. Yeah, so restart starts us again from the top of the draft here. And so you can see, again, we're starting with the Etrata. Maybe if I send this to a friend, actually this pick's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty obviously Etrata, but maybe we go on to the second pick, and then maybe we want to compare our draft to someone else. So someone else, let's say I'm doing this, and then someone else, let's say you, for example, you watching this video, I can share this entire draft link with you. You go on, you do this same draft as me, and then we compare our decks at the end of it. We see, you decided to draft this way because maybe you thought that one color was open, while I chose to go another way because maybe I saw something else that you didn't see, and then we can kind of compare those answers, see who would have ended up with the better deck based off of drafting that seat. It's a pretty interesting concept, and I don't see that from a lot of other draft simulators. So that's something that I do really like from this Cardsphere draft simulator. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of how the draft simulator works. If we wanted to, I guess I do have to kind of do some constructive criticism here. So again, we saw some of the loading times. We saw the link that didn't really work up at the top for the shares, so maybe that's something to take into consideration for the guys at Cardsphere. But another thing that I wanted to kind of bring into consideration here was the prices. I wish there was an option to have the draft bots pick something that was more expensive. Like if it's more expensive to have them value it higher. Because for example, if I'm drafting at my LGS, so let's say, let me turn on the prices here. So we'll go sort or view prices. We'll remove the ratings for now. So like right here, there's really nothing too expensive in this pack, so this isn't a great example. We'll just say, sure, we'll just grab Wall of Reverence, because that's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this one here. So like the Kozilek Butcher of Truth is a $20 card. Chances of someone taking this $20 card are pretty high, unless you're playing Magic Online, where the prices are pretty low in comparison to what they are in paper. But in paper, most of the time people are just going to be taking Kozilek Butcher of Truth. So if I'm practicing using the draft simulator for maybe to practice for a Grand Prix or something like that, this wouldn't really be, or this would be significantly more realistic if you were drafting at like a competitive higher level. But the majority of people are just kind of like those F&M drafters. Maybe they'll get to draft this one time at their local game store, that sort of thing. And if you're drafting at your local game store, the chances of you getting past Kozilek Butcher of Truth are pretty unlikely. We can actually go in and see, so if we go back to the view, or not to the view section, I apologize. If we go to our deck, we look at Ben passing to us. So Ben took a Fiery Temper for his draft deck over a Kozilek Butcher of Truth, which in paper is kind of unlikely if you're drafting at your LGS. So I wish there was some sort of an option where you could like turn on or turn off whether you wanted price to affect the ratings. I think that would be something to add in that would be pretty sweet. Because again, like I said, we're not going to get past this Kozilek, and maybe we'll even get past some additional stuff here throughout the course of this. Magus is a cheap rare. We'll just see if we can hit something. Whatever this card is, it's $8.49. It might be Vexing Devil, possibly. Entomb, yeah. So chances of getting past Entomb are also pretty low for a pack 1 pick 5. People are taking commons over an Entomb here, which is probably something that's not going to happen in paper. So I would say that's probably like the biggest thing to look out for here on the Cardsphere Draft Simulator, is that since there's not really an option to turn that off, you do want to take into consideration that if you're drafting like a master set, it's not really a big deal for the for like the standard legal sets. Like in Guilds of Ravnica, people are gonna like the more expensive cards are the ones that see standard play, but they're also good in drafts. So you don't have to worry about it so much for standard legal sets, but you are going to have to worry about it a little bit for these master sets here, like Ultimate Masters. And if we go back here, you can see the sets that are currently legal is everything in standard right now, so Ixalan through Guilds of Ravnica. But then you can also see Ultimate Masters here being the most recent master set. I don't know if they're planning on going back in the future and giving us additional draft environments, or if they're just going to start with Ixalan and then everything else is going to start getting added in. So like after Ravnica Allegiance comes out, I'm sure that they'll add Ravnica Allegiance here, but I don't know if they'll go back and give us a draft simulator for like Kaladesh, Amonkhet block, those sort of things. So overall, I think that the website's pretty sweet. I'm going to probably use it here for the different drafts that we do here on, like the preparation drafts that we do here on the channel. Again, even though I am sponsored by Cardsphere, I think this is a pretty sweet service that they offer, and I think it's really well done in comparison to some of the other draft simulators I've seen. There's a lot of different options that you have here, especially with the different options to share with your friends and then compare drafts, compare picks. It's a great way to improve as a player and get to talk about Magic with your friends as well. So that's something that I really look forward to and that I think I'll be using a lot, is the share function. And then yeah, it's a pretty good one. And then also, if you're just like pretty new to like drafting, pretty new to Magic in general, just sorting by rating really quickly, and then putting these on ratings, it's a great way to start learning what cards you should really be looking out for. Like if you are kind of newer to Magic and you think Pause for Reflection is a great card for your deck, maybe then this is something that you want to check out, because it'll teach you that Pause for Reflection really isn't something that you should put in your deck, and that you should maybe be going for something more synergistic based, like a Whispering Snitch, or maybe some sort of removal like Command the Storm. If we go to like the next pick, you can see something like we already took a red card, so I'm assuming the Maniacal Rage went up a little bit in rating here from 38 to 58. You'll see the Temple Garden remain the same, because the dual lands are kind of dependent on your colors and limited, because there's also the guild gates going around too. So this is the kind of card that maybe would get value drafted here. in limited. But really, you're just gonna you can use this as a great opportunity to learn the different ratings for the cards as well, and it'll be a great way to get started for your first F&M draft if that's something that you're looking at doing. So I think it's pretty sweet here. Also notably, Maniacal Rage, only red card in the pack, so we could pretty much cut red pretty hard here after going Command the Storm into Maniacal Rage, even though they don't really go in the same deck. I like Maniacal Rage much more in Boros, and I like Command the Storm much more in Izzet. But that's nonetheless, it's a great service, and I think you guys should definitely use it. I'm going to be using it, and I think that it'll be a good one to use in the future for your draft preparations. Maybe once the newest set comes out, then we'll get to do some practice drafts here with Cardsphere. So they're going above and beyond, not just being a trading service, but they wanted to add in some additional stuff, and so now they have the draft simulator here on their website. Again, draft.cardsphere.com is how you can get here, or again, at the bottom of their homepage, they had the link to the draft simulator. Again, I think it's a really sweet one. Again, so if you guys want to check it out, maybe do your first draft, I'll have the link down low in the description for you guys to check out draft.cardsphere.com. Hopefully, you guys got a decent little glimpse into what this is here. If you have any suggestions in the future, again, like I said, one of the things I love about Cardsphere is how willing they are to listen to the community. They love receiving feedback and criticism, or constructive criticism, so definitely, definitely let them know if there's something that you want to see changed to the draft simulator, and then we can make this the best draft simulator ever. Again, it's only been out for like less than a week right now, so there are probably still some, small little glitches and things like that that need to be worked out, but aside from that, I think it's a great resource for us to have here in the MTG community, and I really like the share options that most of the draft simulators don't really have. So again, I think it's pretty sweet. Thank you so much to Cardsphere for sponsoring me. They are fantastic people. I recommend both their draft simulator and their card trading service, both of which are fantastic, and they're a big supporter of the channel, which is incredible because they're a great company, and so I love getting to work with them. If you guys did enjoy the video and want to hear more videos like this in the future, be sure to click a like on the video as well as click the subscribe button. Definitely means a lot to me. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this video with me, and I'll see you guys here next time. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video where we talked about the new draft simulator that Cardsphere put out at the end of all of my videos. I'd love to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons over on the Patreon page because they are incredible people. So huge shout out and thank you to Down Under MTG, Bad Wolf MTG, Jayathy Swaran, Jason, Rodrigo, Jeremy, and Daniel for supporting me over on the Patreon page. Again, like I said, they're fantastic people. I really appreciate the support that they give me, and I'll see you guys here next time.